Have you ever felt so sad that even the world around you seemed to lose its color? Like no matter how much you tried, nothing seemed to work. If you've ever felt that way, then listen closely, because this story is for you. This is the story of a raven named Kale, who once believed he was the most unfortunate bird in the sky. Every morning, Kale would wake up to the golden rays of the sun shining over the forest. But instead of feeling joy, he felt envy. He would look at the bright, colorful feathers of parrots, the elegant glide of eagles, and the sweet songs of nightingales, and think, why was I born this way? Why am I so dark, so different, so ordinary? His days were filled with self-pity, and his nights with silent tears. He tried to make friends, but the other birds often ignored him, calling him unlucky or a symbol of sorrow. Kale began to believe them. He started hiding in the shadows, away from everyone, whispering to himself, maybe the world would be better without me. One day, as he sat alone on a lonely branch, he saw a dove flying gracefully toward a river. But before the dove could drink, it slipped on a wet rock and fell into the rushing current. Without thinking, Kale spread his black wings and dove straight into the water. The river was wild, crashing and roaring, but Kale didn't stop. He flapped, struggled, and fought against the waves until he reached a dove and pulled her safely to the shore. Exhausted, he lay beside her, breathing heavily. The dove looked at him, shivering, and said, "You saved my life. How can I ever thank you?" Kale smiled weakly, saying, "I'm just glad you're safe." The dove replied softly, "Everyone calls you unlucky, but today you were my blessing." Those words echoed in Kale's heart. For the first time, he saw himself differently, not as a bird cursed by fate, but as one who could make a difference. Days passed, and Kale began to fly again, but this time with purpose. Whenever he saw another bird in need, he was the first to help. When a nest fell during a storm, Kale carried twigs and leaves to rebuild it. When the young sparrows couldn't find food, he guided them to hidden berry bushes. Slowly, the other birds began to notice. The same ones who once mocked him now called him brave. They realized that while Kale didn't have colorful feathers or a beautiful song, he had something much greater, a heart that cared. One morning, as the sun rose, Kale looked at his reflection in the water. For the first time, he didn't wish to be anyone else. He smiled at his dark feathers, glistening under the light, and whispered, "Maybe I was never meant to shine like others. Maybe I was meant to bring light where it was missing." As time went on, Kale's story spread throughout the forest. Even the eagles spoke of his courage, and the nightingales sang songs about his kindness. Kale had finally found what he had been searching for, not admiration, not beauty, but peace. He realized that sadness often comes when we compare our path to others. But every soul has its own journey, its own rhythm, and its own meaning. If you look close enough, even your pain can become the reason someone else smiles. Kale's darkness was never a curse, was the very thing that made him visible in someone else's storm. So if you ever feel sad, if you ever think you're not enough, remember Kale the Raven, who thought he had nothing to give, but ended up becoming the light in others' darkness. Your struggle is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your purpose. Life doesn't always give us what we want, but it always gives us what we need to grow. And, just like Kale, one day, you'll look back and realize that the things that once made you cry were shaping you into someone extraordinary. So don't give up. Don't hide your light because you think it's not bright enough. Every dawn begins in darkness. Your time will come, your wings will heal, and when you rise, like the raven you'll understand that everything you went through was preparing you to help others find their way. Keep going, because even the darkest feathers can carry the brightest soul.